On Global TV News Express, President Bola Tinubu orders pension raise, free healthcare for retirees. In business, Central Bank of Nigeria says country's money supply drops to 117 trillion naira in June 2025. On the foreign scene, court jails students over anti-Museveni TikTok video. And in sports, Eric Shell slams Puerto Rico's display against Senegal. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global TV, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Wiyi Agumofwegbe, reminding our viewers that we are on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times 276. President Bola Tinubu has ordered the immediate implementation of free health care for low-income retirees under the Contributory Pension Scheme, CPS, and an upward review of pension payments. The president also directed a guaranteed premium and minimum pension for the most vulnerable, stressing dignity and protection in retirement as key goals of his administration. Tinubu further tasked the Pension Commission to urgently resolve lingering police pension issues while endorsing reforms to attract diaspora participation in the scheme. In another development, President Bola Tinubu has commiserated with President John Mahama and the people of Ghana following a tragic military helicopter crash that claimed the lives of Defense Minister Edward Omane Boma, Environment Minister Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, and 6 others. He conveyed Nigeria's heartfelt condolences, praying for strength for the bereaved families and peaceful repose for the departed. Tinubu hailed the victims for dying in patriotic service, urging Ghana to find comfort in their sacrifice. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it will begin a large-scale investigation into Nigeria's real estate industry, starting in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to trace illicit wealth and ownership of suspicious property. The Commission's chairman, Ola Olokoyede, described the sector as a hotbed for money laundering and fraud, warning dubious developers will be prosecuted. He also called for a transparent registry and better regulation, assuring legitimate investors of their agency's support. The Court of Appeal in Lagos State has restored the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's interim forfeiture order on 14 property linked to former Kogi State's Governor Yahaya Bello, reversing a federal high court ruling that earlier struck out the case. The appellate court held that immunity for sitting governors does not cover assets suspected to be proceeds of crime and directed the commission to proceed with a final forfeiture hearing. The former governor argued that the properties were brought before he became governor, but the court dismissed his objections as lacking merit. Let's turn to other stories for you now. The Federal Character Commission has appealed to the National Assembly for stronger legislative backing, increased funding to enforce equity and fairness in public service appointments across Nigeria. Acting chairman of the commission, Kayode Oladele, made the appeal during an interactive session with the House Committee on Federal Character in Abuja. Our National Assembly correspondent, Aniete Patrick, reports.
At a session with the House Committee on Federal Character, the acting chairman of the Federal Character Commission, Kayode Oladele, emphasized the need for closer collaboration with the National Assembly to ensure equity, inclusiveness, and fairness in governance. He revealed that despite the Commission's mandate to monitor over 700 ministries, departments, and agencies, along with offices in all 36 states and the FCT, it remains hampered by inadequate funding and limited enforcement powers. Oladele said some MDAs and state governments consistently undermine the Commission's efforts by refusing to cooperate or claiming to operate outside its jurisdiction. He is now calling on lawmakers to back amendments to the FCC Establishment Act to grant it greater autonomy, enforcement powers, and digital monitoring capacities.
A lot of things went wrong, which I would not want to say here, but we're in the process of making things right. Then a lot of agencies also we have written to. We we asked them to submit their nominal rolls. Because I told my colleagues here, we had a meeting, I said, what we're going to have to be able to ensure equitable and equal representation is to see for ourselves nominal roles of all the agencies.
In response, Chairman of the committee and former Deputy Speaker Idris Wase criticized agencies attempting to bypass or duplicate the Commission's responsibilities. He affirmed that the FCC's powers are rooted in the Constitution and not an act of Parliament.
We are also very unhappy with the interference now, I say interference, of some agencies of government who want to come in and do the job alongside with you. We are not in collaboration, we are not in support of that. The Constitution is very clear, it's a constitutional provision. You are creation of the Constitution, not an act. I'm not belittling the act of Parliament, but whatever law you have anywhere, what you have in the Constitution supersedes.
Wase also revealed that the Education Minister has been summoned over irregular appointments in new institutions where top officials reportedly hail from the same region, violating federal character principles. Anitie Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Well, thank you so very much, Anitie. The federal government has expressed its determination to intensify efforts at improving sanitation and ending open defecation in the country as part of the nationwide Clean Nigeria campaign. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, who led an advocacy visit to the office of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation in Abuja, called for commitment, collaboration, and concrete action. Kabir Hassan tells us more.
In a bid to achieve the open defecation-free Nigeria by 2025, the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign has continued to engage key institutions and stakeholders. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Talumun Uster, emphasizes the importance of behavioral change and public sector leadership in ending open defecation and promoting proper sanitation habits across ministries, departments, and agencies.
And this is aimed at ending open defecation by the year 2030 and by achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 6.2 on sanitation and hygiene. As of today, we are able to achieve 148 local governments that are open defecation free by integrating the sanitation and hygiene indicators into institutional performance assessment by assessing our performances at the ministry level, departments, and agency level.
The head of Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Esther Wilson Jack, gave assurance of the full support, noting that all public institutions must comply with sanitation standards. She noted that the campaign aligns with the ongoing reform agenda of the civil service and promised that her office will open its doors to continuous collaboration with the ministry.
I want to assure you, Honorable Minister, that not only as a member of the water family, but as someone who is keenly concerned to see that the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign succeeds, you can be rest assured that myself as an individual and my office will give your ministry all the support that we can. We are in full support of the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign, and we join your train of advocacy and sensitization and partnership and collaboration. Count on us any day, anytime.
As federal government rallies institutions toward ending open defecation, with the clock ticking toward the 2025 deadline, the civil service has now thrown its weight behind the Clean Nigerian campaign on a bold step that could flush out open defecation once for all as major boost in national sanitation drive. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
Away from Kabir Hassan's story now, we turn to matters of education. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says candidates below 16 years will now face tough screening before qualifying for university admission, even if they have exceptional Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination scores. The board's registrar, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, said only those who meet strict academic, emotional, and psychological benchmarks will be considered, citing the need to protect young students from academic abuse. The board has already removed over 38,000 underage candidates from its admission system, with only 490 qualifying for possible screening under new rules. Nigeria and India have agreed to intensify joint action against transnational opioid trafficking, especially the illegal shipment of tramadol and codeine into West Africa. Chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Major Buba Marwa, retired, and Director General of India's Narcotics Control Bureau, Anurag Garg, made the commitment during a virtual meeting, pledging enhanced intelligence sharing, technical collaboration, and joint training. Both countries acknowledged the growing threat of synthetic drug abuse and vowed to disrupt international syndicates exploiting legal trade routes. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetunku has decorated police officers who were recently promoted in recognition of their exceptional service, courage, and integrity. The officers were honored for winning national police awards, including Police Officer of the Year for 2023 and 2024. Security correspondent Kikalomo Okere has more.
Among the decorated are CSP Shaba Aliu, promoted to Assistant Commissioner of Police, and SP Setomi Obi, promoted to Chief Superintendent of Police. Decorating the newly promoted officer, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetukun, says the initiative is part of a broader effort by the Nigerian Police Force to reward excellence, boost morale, and promote meritocracy within the force. He emphasized that recognizing outstanding officers is essential to fostering a culture of professionalism and dedication, which is critical to enhancing public trust and effective policing.
We are not merely decorating officers. We are defining a legacy. This moment marks a deliberate and strategic departure from the shadows of mediocrity. It's a resounding reaffirmation of what we stand for: excellence, integrity, merit, and national pride. We have come to honor men whose stories now serve as institutional case studies in courage and professionalism.
IGP Egbetukun also urged the promoted officers to continue upholding the highest standards of discipline to serve as the role model for their colleagues. He noted that their exemplary conduct and achievements set the tone for others and contribute positive to the overall mission of the police force in safeguarding the nation's security.
The process that led to their emergence was deliberately rigorous, grounded in objectivity and insulated from influence. It was a process designed to sift not just for performance, but for character. And they rose to the top, not by accident, not by favor, but by merit. Let every officer here take note.
IGP reiterated the force's commitment to continuous capacity and ensuring that hard work and integrity are duly rewarded at all levels. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
Thank you so very much, Kikalomo. Troops of the 6th Brigade Nigerian Army have rescued 7 kidnapped victims abducted along the Chinkai-Kente-Wukari Road in Taraba State. The victims were freed during a coordinated offensive in Chikai Forest and Owedi community after the kidnappers fled under sustained military pressure. Brigade Commander Brigadier General Kingsley Uwa hailed the cooperation as a major success and reaffirmed the Army's commitment to combating kidnapping and securing the region. This is Global Television, and you're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When the rest of the news returns shortly, Central Bank of Nigeria says money supply drops to 117 trillion naira in June 2025. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories for you when we return from this break. Please don't go away. Continue this news broadcast with business. President Bola Tinubu has approved the recapitalization of the Bank of Agriculture with 1.5 trillion naira. A statement issued by the Ministry of Agriculture says the approval marks the most significant boost to agricultural finance in the country's history. This came as Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari disclosed in the statement that the implementation of the National Agricultural Technology and Innovation Policy will accelerate Nigeria's agricultural ecosystem. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria says broad money supply in the country has declined for the third straight month, falling 1.27% to 117.4 trillion naira in June this year. The latest contraction points to tightening liquidity conditions in the economy, continuing a downward trend first recorded in February. However, year-on-year data still shows a 15.8% increase, reflecting broader inflationary pressures and monetary shifts over the past 12 months. In a bold move to empower Nigeria's youth, the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, also called Credit Corp, to make consumer credit more accessible to young people. Director General of the service, Brigadier General Mohammed Abubakar, says the signing of the document marks a new chapter in financial inclusion for the country's working population. Our correspondent, Ubong Usoro, was there for Global Television.
Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation Credit Corp is a federal government development finance institution on a mission to democratize consumer credit. Through this partnership with NYSC, core members and other young Nigerians will now have better access to loans and financial support designed to help them build their futures. The Director General, National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Mohammed, says the MOU signifies commitments to improving the welfare of core members by facilitating their access to vital financial resources needed to succeed during and after their service.
It's safer to buy with your credit card, because even if your credit card gets compromised, you are not losing money. Unlike your debit card, once you tap and they pick your debit card, whatever is out of your account is gone. But of course, your credit card, you can easily.
The chairman, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, says the collaboration opens new doors for core members to access affordable credit to start businesses and meet personal needs during and after their service year. He noted that the goal is to reach underserved Nigerians and partner with NYSC to deliver tailored consumer credit solutions directly to young people across the nation.
Specific consumer credit for youth core members. And at the heart of youth credit is actually not just credit, but credit orientation. That is teaching young Nigerians, especially as they are coming into the workforce, teaching them good credit habits, teaching them how to build a credit history, teaching them how to plan financially and borrow responsibly.
This partnership between Credit Corp and NYSC is expected to boost youth entrepreneurship and financial inclusion nationwide. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
And from Umbog's report now, we transition to the foreign scene, where a Ugandan student has been sentenced to 2 months in prison over a TikTok post critical of President Yoweri Museveni, sparking renewed concern over free speech. Police say the video, which featured doctored footage of the parliament speaker, was designed to incite hostility against top officials ahead of next year's election. Rights groups have condemned the move, warning it reflects a shrinking civic space under Museveni's 40-year rule. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the country is fully prepared to stand its ground. This comes as after US President Donald Trump signed an executive order raising tariffs on India to 50% as a penalty over oil purchases from Russia. Zerao Nasir completes the report.
Indian exporters have warned that the cost of additional U.S. tariffs risks making businesses not payable after President Donald Trump ordered stiffer levies, totaling 50% on imported Indian goods. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he is willing to pay a great personal price, while opposition Congress party leader Rahul Gandhi called the levies economic blackmail and attempt to bully India into an unfair trade deal. Stocks opened marginally lower on Thursday, with the benchmark Nifty index down 0.31% after an initial 25% U.S. tariff came into effect. That levy will be doubled in 3 weeks after Trump signed an order to impose an additional 25% tariff because of New Delhi's continued purchases of Russian oil, a key revenue source for Moscow's war in Ukraine. Zahra Nasir reporting for Global TV News.
We appreciate your reporting, Zara. Karel Naroshi, a nationalist historian backed by United States President Donald Trump, has been sworn in as Poland's president, marking a significant shift from the country's previous centuries' pro-Euro government. We'll bring you those details later. In Cameroon, a leading opposition figure has been disqualified from the upcoming presidential election. The decision by the Constitutional Council is sparking outrage among political observers and rights advocates. Correspondent Mukhtar Kazim reports.
Maurice Kamto, who finished second in the 2018 presidential race, has been officially barred from contesting the 2025 elections in Cameroon. He had planned to run under the African Movement for New Independence and Democracy, MANIDEM, after leaving the Cameroon Renaissance movement. But the Constitutional Council says his candidacy is invalid because MANIDEM, like his former party, holds no elected seat in parliament or local government. The court admitted Kamto's appeal, but ruled it had no merit